Good afternoon. This is Woody Collins again from Congo Helping Hands, and it is Monday, shortly after 3 o'clock, and it's time for another episode of Talking About the Congo. So, we do the broadcast daily at 3 p.m. from wherever I happen to be, and today I am out at the uh, state park, uh, Fort Benjamin Harris State Park, and it's another day of talking about the Congo. And today's subject, we're going to talk about what is it like to live in a rural Congolese village. That's really interesting. Uh, and I know for some of the people who went to the Congo with me early on, they were a little bit aghast, really didn't know how to cope with it. But being that I grew up, had the experience of visiting rural uh, towns and outposts in the South, I had a little bit of better understanding of what rural life was all about. So, what I'm going to do today is contrast some of uh, those interesting things that I grew up with, had experience that that some people would not have known about. So the first thing is let's talk about infrastructure. When you live in a rural village, the infrastructure that you have is individual type. Uh, you have septic tanks in rural America. You don't have city water and sewage. You may have a well. So if your well run dry, is not working well, you're out of luck. So the same thing is in rural Congo, but even worse, if you're living out in a rural village, you definitely don't have even a septic tank. You would have a pit latrine. And I can remember going to in West Florida, visiting relatives up there, and they had an outhouse, and they had a well in the backyard. And this was not even a well. This was they didn't have inside plumbing or anything like this, but they had a well that you went out and pumped water uh, and got water out of it, and you use that for taking a bath, for cooking and everything, but you had to tote the water inside the house, or they had maybe a secondary pump that was closer to the house. I remember they had one that was like right off the back porch. But that is what you have in the Congo, but you don't even have water that is even close by. You have to actually walk down to the stream or walk down to a water source that someone has a spring or something that has come up out of the ground where there's water coming up. And so you get water from those locations. Uh, how about, so we talked about sanitation. You have a pit latrine out, and a pit latrine is like a little hole in the ground with some branches, tree branches or something that's over the top of it. So you stand on a squat over the hole in the ground. I remember uh, even to the day, that is the preferred way of a lot of Congolese go to the bathroom is they are squatters. That's one of the things that I learned early on when took some classes, and they were talking about not everybody uses a commode like we do that we can sit on. Uh, I remember in Kinshasa, they have signs up in the restroom telling people not to stand on the commode because they just think from from their village that they always squatted over the hole and they're not used to sitting down. So of course they would with a toilet seat they would break it and so forth and so on. So that's kind of sort of infrastructure. There's no electricity out in the rural areas, so you don't have electricity. So some of the houses that I remember going to, they didn't have electricity, but that was the situation. either it was too expensive to have the utility company to run a line to your house, and so that prohibits you from getting electricity. So you needed to stay near uh, a power line somewhere if you wanted to have electricity. So without electricity, you don't have those modern conveniences of electronics, mixers, all those type of things that you just don't have. So in the rural Congo, you don't have electricity. There's no power grid that's even nowhere near around. It may be thousands of miles away from power. So you would have to use a panels or something to charge up batteries. So you do the same. Um, you listen to the radio a lot since there's no television reception. Now, in some areas, you can't even get a cell signal. You're even too far away from a cell. So you may have to walk 5 or 10 miles or more just to get into the area where you can get cell coverage. So let's talk about some of the other conveniences. As you know, when you're out in the country or out in a rural area here in the United States, your health, you may not have a doctor nearby. There may not be a hospital nearby. Those are the same things that you have to face with, but it's even uh, more extreme because you got to walk to the next village that may even have a health clinic, and it probably is a poorly equipped health clinic, but it is some type of medical people that's there. And then if you need to go to the hospital, you may go 50 miles in order to actually get to a hospital. It's a long distance that you're going to have to go. So just imagine that. So also imagine schools. Some places in rural areas here, you don't have access to a school. You're going to have to ride the bus maybe 30 minutes or an hour to get to the school. Well, the same thing in the Congo in a rural area. You're going to have to walk to a school. If you want to go to the school, you're going to have to walk maybe, you know, get up at sun up, say 6 o'clock in the morning, and start walking towards the school. And then you got to make it. You don't get back until late that afternoon. If the school lets out at 12 o'clock, or if you're in the evening session, uh, you would leave maybe at 10 o'clock so that you can get there by 12, and then you wouldn't be home until 6 o'clock because a lot of the schools have they have two sessions. They have a session in the morning that begins at 8 o'clock and is out at 12, and then another one that starts at 12 and then it's out at 4 o'clock. So you have that situation. You can think about the things that movie theaters, television, and entertainment, bowling alleys. You just forget about that kind of stuff. I can remember growing up that I was a teenager after I had started driving that I finally went to a movie that was a movie theater. I mean, it was no such thing as a movie theater in the hometown that I lived in, and we lived in a city, but there was no movie theater. We had to drive 25 miles to a movie theater to go to a movie theater. So, so you see why people the same stigma that we have here in the United States when we talk about country people that they have in Congo. They call them villageois, village people, and they are not thought of highly educated. They are not used to the conveniences of what you would have here in the say even a rural city in Congo, a rural city meaning say a rural town versus actually living out in the countryside. So that's a little ideas about what is the difference between a village. A village is like way out in the country, has no things. Uh, there may be 4 or 5 houses or family that's nearby you. that's in a little compound. You would stay close together for not only for protection, but also to support one another. And it's usually a family compound or something like that. So that's kind of my ideas for today on what it's like in a village. I haven't been out to the village in probably in the last two trips, but I'm expected to go out to the village again to see what's going on out there because they are good people and they're friendly people, and it's just amazing to see how they survive and live. So thank you again for coming in and for this broadcast, whether you're here live or whether you are seeing this on a replay. We do this daily at 3 p.m. and so you can catch us tomorrow at 3 p.m. And you can see whatever the subject is. If you got a subject or something that you would like to propose to us, please send that to me by making a comment in the area. And thank you, Joe. I see Joe just says thank Woody. Joe from St. Louis originally. I don't know if where he's at. And then that is uh, Nata from Joyce. And thank you. And where did you think of village life? What you think of the village life? Uh, it was good. I really enjoyed the village life, Nata, and it was quiet. So you didn't have all the distractions. But after being out there for usually a month, you start longing for for the city life. You just got tired of not having something to do, and all those conveniences. Once you've lived in the city, it's kind of very hard to go back to those situations. Uh, and how did I adapt? Like I say, I had this is another question that just came up. How did I adapt to it? Like I said earlier, I grew up in a small town, so it would be considered a rural town. And so therefore I was familiar with not having a lot of things. And then when my grandparents used to take me out to the country where people really lived in the country and they didn't have electricity, they didn't have water in their house, uh, no plumbing and stuff like that. So it was not, it was an area that those type things that I had seen, but I'm thinking my children probably they really reacted different to it because they grew up with all the modern conveniences of a town, running water, showers, hot water by turning on the faucet, not even having to boil your water to drink, and also heat water to take a bath in a bucket, a tub or something like that. They had showers where they just go in there and run the water as long as they wanted to. So for me, because I'm an older person, I had experienced some of that. It was not a big adjustment for me. But like I say, some of the people who went along with me, they were younger, and so had not experienced what life is like in a rural setting. So they were probably more emotionally detached, emotionally, you know, just it was just an experience, and they were probably really ready to leave and things. Spiritually, I think it was more communing with nature because you didn't have those things like to distract you, like electricity, going to the store. You didn't have, like in the village that we were in, the store. I mean, they would have a market once a week, and a market was where people traveled around from one area to another on bicycles, of course, and they would push whatever they were selling. Some guy may be coming through selling wash tubs. One guy may be coming through to sell buckets. one guy may be having coats that he has purchased, and he's reselling coats, uh, clothes. Someone may be there to sell soap. So therefore, that was the time of the that was almost like the shopping center coming to you once a week. So if you needed something, you would hope that you could find it. Uh, just like batteries. I mean, when we first went to the Congo, we took a whole bunch of batteries with us because people say you don't have any electricity. So all our battery powered stuff, flashlights and things like that, we took batteries. Uh, and we were just like, okay, we hope we don't run out of batteries. But, if you were in a rural village and you say the village had their market on Friday and it was uh, Monday and you forgot to get batteries, you would probably do without any type of entertainment, listening to the radio until it came up again. So for me, like I say, it was interesting, but even I got tired of it because, like I say, if you've been in the city, lived someplace where you had all the modern conveniences, you can suffer through it for a short period of time. However, you are going to eventually get to the point where you really miss this. You really you start thinking about, like, even now, like football season. You start thinking, oh man, I sure would like to watch that game. And you miss one game, but when you start missing 3 or 4 games, it's like, oh gee, I don't even I'm not going to see any of the good games and everything. And it's really uh, you know, kind of heartbreaking for you and everything like that. So that's one of the experience. So thank you, Joe, for tuning in today, and I hope you're doing okay. And also Nata, Anita. I don't know how you pronounce that, but thank you for asking your questions. And the village I went to that I mostly uh, spent most of the time was out in Bulape, and it's in the Kasai, and it's actually about 120 miles from the rural city. So it's like when we went out to the village, we stocked up on everything that we thought we would need. We bought rice because a lot of times, Congolese don't eat rice, and if you wanted rice, you better take that with you. Uh, some of the staples like not even corn and things like that. You can get that, but oh, Nita. Okay, Nita. Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you for putting that in there. So now we'll pronounce your name right. And thank you for asking those questions. But we're gonna go ahead. If unless you have another question that you want answered, we're gonna call it quits, and we will be back tomorrow. But if you have another question to come up, you can always make a comment, and I will answer that tomorrow because I really enjoy talking about Congo. It's one of those things that I really miss now by the coronavirus. I'm here in the United States, and I'm just kind of hanging out till things calm down a little bit. And as more and more I think about it, I'm not looking uh, at the calming down in Congo because Congo's uh, confirmed rate is much lower, and I just looked at it this morning, and they have 10,550 cases with 319 deaths, which is nothing. We have here in Indiana over close to 4,000 deaths, if not more. And so, it's so. What am I doing here? Probably, I'd be a lot safer maybe in Congo, but that's a different story. So thank you again, everyone, and I really appreciate it. And we will talk to you tomorrow. And now it's time for me to get up and get my walking done for today, and my running, my training, and then I will call it an evening. So we'll see you tomorrow at 3 o'clock. Thank all y'all for coming on, and thank y'all for also for who watches us on the rebroadcast. So Thank you. And as always, take care of yourself and take care of your family. Be safe. Wash your hands. Socially distance, and wear your mask. We want to get this uh, virus under control and talk about it. Hey Lou, how you doing? Lou is just coming on. Lou is from Pennsylvania, and and Lou says he loves the times when he was out in Congo. Lou went out to Congo, and he loved the time after the generator was turned off. Yeah, yeah. A lot of places have generators, and you would not know how quiet it is until that generator goes off, and as you can hear nothing. There's no cars, no nothing, and you look up in the sky. There's no ambient light, so you can see every star and every satellite flying over above you. So that's how you spend your evenings, looking up at the sky, looking at distant constellations, and trying to spot different satellites that's flying above you. So thank you again, Lou. Thank you, Nita and Joe, and we will talk to you tomorrow. So everybody, be safe now.